I put a video out week before last, but only a few hundred people got to see it because it was taken right down by YouTube. And I just wanted to come back and say that I'm going to be try to be moving all my videos to BitChute, or maybe take some of the content out of the one that got taken down and put it back up. But really the reason for this video is because I just wanted to tell everyone that when I put that video out a couple weeks ago, I kind of got jumped on by a couple people for not having done an update video because of the video previous to that where I was doing so bad. And they were like, WTF, you know, you just come on like nothing and put out a video, don't even mention how you're doing. So I just wanted to say the reason I didn't give an update is, number one, I really didn't think people would be all that interested compared to, you know, I mean, there's so much going on out there. And the reason I had made that video in the first place was not that I'm doing any better, not that I have more energy, time, nothing's better, but I had gotten so fed up with all the videos out there that are still, you know, we are the vibrational energy that we're put here to cause change, and just so much smack that I literally could not take seeing another video with the message, you know, all the posts under, you know, just a ton of videos, almost all videos, where the majority of people, you know, are posting that kind of crap. And it took every bit of energy I had to even try to get that video out, you know, same supernatural obstacles, but I really thought that the message I had could have benefited a lot of people, and that was my focus. And then I did have a partial update one that I was going to put out, but then all hell broke out again. And as it turns out, until today, I've been completely confined to my bed because I had, out of nowhere, don't even know how I did it, a disc that ruptured in my back, that ruptured so much and so bad that there's just no room for the nerve to move, and took forever to even get a consult with pain management just to get enough treatment until I could get a consult with the neurosurgeon. Just a nightmare of a situation, and the pain was so incredibly bad for a month. I literally could not deal with it. And you know, I don't want anybody blasting me in the comment sections, because you don't know until you've been there how much pain I was in. That was just literally unbearable. I was making my list and details of whatever I would need to do to take myself out in the least traumatic way for, you know, my family here, or whatever it was I needed to do. But then there was a cancellation. I got into pain management doctor. He looked at my MRI and said, oh my gosh, I see you are a 10 out of 10 and this is why. And he did a spinal injection right then and there and put me on high dose oral steroids and gabapentin, you know, to calm the nerve, because it was going all the way down to my toe. I mean, just unbelievable pain. And then he texted the neurosurgeon that they did not even have an opening until August 1st, from a month ago when this first bombed. But he texted the neurosurgeon and got me in the next day to have a consult. And what's weird, and what I'll mention that was just such a blessing about the neurosurgeon, is he didn't know, but as it turns out, I actually knew him from like 1986 or 7. I'd met him once before. He still had 1 year of neurosurgeon school left to go, and he came down to visit 2 dentist friends that went to the same college but were in a different, you know, professional school. And he came down to visit them, and I met him then. And then a couple years later, I met him when I worked at the hospital in the radiologist's office for a couple years. And I wasn't even going to mention that I knew him, waiting in the waiting room for him to come in. But he came in and he looked so different. I couldn't help but just out of my mouth is, "Oh my gosh, you look so much different." And he just kind of slowly made his way to me with his hand extended, asking, "Do I know you?" And I said, "Yeah, actually, I met you at this office and then worked with you, or I saw you at the hospital." And anyway, we ended up having a really good talk. Like, I'm talking, how we don't relate to the people here on any level, and it's just always very uncomfortable. Well, this was seriously like, a professional colleague to colleague conversation straight from home. I mean, it was like a really good homecoming conversation. We talked about all the people we had worked with in common, and yeah, I told him all about the stuff that's going on, and he was actually pretty interested in that and had a lot of questions. And so we got to the part about discussing when to schedule the surgical procedure, and I told him, well, I had to scramble to get insurance because I left my profession last June when the vaccines arrived at the pharmacy, and it's supposed to be effective July 1st, and then, take 10, 14 days to argue the pre-certification and prior authorization and all that stuff. So, he promised it's the day, July 1st, he will have his girls working on it, and he will work me into his surgery schedule the minute that it's approved. Doesn't matter, he'll work me in. And as a professional thank you for the sacrifice of my job and income and life for doing what's right regarding the vaccines, he ended up picking up my $900 cash-paying neurosurgeon consult fee, which was a godsend. So that's kind of where I'm at. It's really weird because a couple days after I got the spinal injection and was on all these medications, it did finally take the edge off, where I was not a honest-to-God true 10 out of 10. And then I started getting a little more optimistic and things, and then just got slammed with some weird migraine out of hell. That it's just been one thing after another. And it's been really hard in general. The reason I really kind of slowed down on the videos to begin with is because, I watch all the same videos and channels on YouTube and BitChute and other places. And it's just getting so frustrating, not only knowing and dealing with what's going on in the entire world, but also watching the people, even those that are in our groups who are claiming to be, awake and aware and know everything that's going on, who are just making ridiculous comments and posts and, completely misunderstanding so many things. And it's really been very, very hard for me to have the energy to just deal with anything. And that goes without saying, obviously, the people that don't know anything, like looking at their asinine comments they post under, a variety of videos, like, yeah, the world power can't do that, wait till they see us stand up, we're number one. Like, people are just clueless about how truly powerless they really are in the face of what's coming, because what's coming must come. And, that's one thing. But then listening to what the people in our own groups are claiming and saying or understanding, and they're not even getting it. They don't even realize how much bigger and more complex and thorough, the agenda, everything that's playing out. And it's really just been too much. And if it wasn't enough to deal with all that, it seems like anytime I come across something, there have been so many videos that I have wanted to make and just couldn't. I got to go through 3 and 4 different cameras, phones, laptops, everything just to get stuff posted, and then files are missing, deleted, corrupted, just all kind of stuff. But there have been so many topics, so many videos that I've tried to do, and every time there's something really big that I find that people are just completely unaware of, been wearing so heavily on me, because they don't stop. Just the other night, when I turned the TV on before I could even get it on YouTube, it was on regular TV and a commercial just happened to come on, and it was advertising this new weight loss drug. Never heard the name, and I was thinking, okay, let's see what this is. What are the active ingredients in this going to be? Because there's, certain categories of medications just tons of people are going to, try to get and start and take and all this stuff. And my mind was absolutely blown beyond blown when I saw this latest thing. Okay, so let me tell you, the way pharmacy works, the way pharmacy has always worked, is yes, there can be certain drugs that require a registry for safety reasons, depending on the class of drug, that the patient, the provider, and the pharmacy have to go through extra steps to make sure certain things are checked, like patient's pregnancy status and things like this. But then all these drugs are still, and here's the point, sold, distributed, picked up at all these retail and independent pharmacies. If the pharmacies are trained in, I pledge for, acne products or clozapine, just a whole bunch of things. But the point is they're still sold at the pharmacy to the patient, distributed to the patient, sold at the pharmacy. And there's no company, there's no event in history where it's ever been any other way. Well, I found out that this new weight loss drug, I think it's called Plevity. Now, a lot of you have been following stuff to begin with. Your ears are going to perk up when I tell you the only active ingredients are hydrogel and citric acid. Okay, let's see. Gotta go check this out. What the hell are they giving people oral hydrogel for? Knowing it's going to be some drug carrier system. Well, the biggest weird thing about this whole thing is this is a drug somehow already went through trials, cleared through the FDA, but you cannot get it. It will not be distributed in any retail pharmacy. There will only be one company globally, I think it's called Go-Go Meds or something, that must ship the drug directly from, not from the manufacturer, because then I followed all these bill latent manifest trails, and they've already shipped it to all these countries, but it has to get shipped from this specialty delivery company, specifically, they only handle this drug direct to patients. And I'm telling you right now, that does not happen, has never happened, would never happen in retail pharmacy, that a global drug, by the way, manufactured by some Italian company that's never manufactured pharmaceuticals. They have done other bio things, but not any drugs. They're not a drug company. And their parent company, or their Inc. company in Boston here, 65 employees. Last year with a revenue of $8 million. So you're telling me the FDA is going to allow some company that just came up with a weight loss drug. They've only got 65 employees, $8 million, and they're going to only allow one distribution company to ship this directly to patients, bypass pharmacies completely. That is just, I cannot even tell you how abnormal, how never in history that could be possible. And the reason they're doing this is because they don't want people, researchers, or people, anybody, to get a hold of this drug and test it to see what's in it. If you go Google what mainstream science would consider, the top researching publications and outlets, you will find plenty of clinical trials that were done in the last couple years of cross-linked hydrogels that were cross-linked with different backbones. This particular weight loss drug uses cellulose, which is nothing more than, like sawdust, tree fiber, plant fiber, cellulose. So it's a cellulose matrix hydrogel with citric acid. Now for me, citric acid is used widely and for variable, lots and lots of purposes. Citric acid is used in the manufacture of pharmaceuticals. And they're saying hydrogel and citric acid, those are the only active ingredients for this, huh? So I went and found some articles that were exactly cellulose matrixed hydrogels with citric acid to see what the hell these things have been researched, what they've been tested for, and they're specifically and exclusively as drug delivery systems, usually with, like controlled release features and things. So whatever the hell they're putting in that, these people, whoever take it, and there's going to be a ton of people who are going to want to take this. They're going to be targeting so many things that people in their vanity, in their pride, are going to want really bad. Weight loss drugs, memory drugs, appearance enhancers, and not to mention, I'm sure y'all have heard, all the clinical trial participants with this cancer drug or cancer vaccine, 100% completely cured. When have you ever heard of a clinical trial when there was 100% cure rate? That is the biggest bullshit I have ever heard. So whatever it is, they're getting whatever it is they want via the vaccines, via these other, adjunctive treatments and drugs and therapies, and people are going to be racing to take it, to do it. I mean, they're not going to know, and you can't tell them because people don't even know, what the normal, legally, there's a whole reason that the pharmacy system is set up like it is to make it a closed system, because there's a pedigree law that means, and this is the difference between the United States and other countries, is, you can get knockoff drugs in other countries that get diverted into the system. You really can't in the U.S. because there's pedigree that has to be followed from the manufacturer to the wholesalers and distributors all the way to the pharmacy on every single bottle of anything that's purchased. So that way things can't be diverted out or into the system. It's a closed pharmacy system. And with this new drug, never has this ever happened with any drug. Give some newcomer complete exclusive people, it can only be shipped by this inside company, and you have to enroll because they want to follow your side effects and your tolerance and your results. They want to be able to follow that. Why? Because they're testing shit on people and they want to be able to track that. And this is the only way that they can track it directly themselves without any outside influence. Remember, it's the same thing that happened when too many people started downloading VAERS data and they went directly to a different reporting source in-house that only they could access and have control over. Things are just so bad. So I was looking at all the stuff about this drug and found these other resources with the same exact cellulose matrixed hydrogels with citric acid and the other things that they had been testing, and these are with all kind of foods. I'm really willing to bet you anything we all already have some degree of whatever in us. You know, and that's probably what all the food shortages last year were about, because they're shutting some places down, diverting, you know, new suppliers into the vendors that are making different things. You know, originally I kind of thought last year that the reason that, and 2 years ago even, that the reason things tasted differently, you know, foods and drinks tasted different, is because I thought it was because everything was being given over, you know, behind the scenes to China, and that they were manufacturing it and still slapping on our label and just, you know, pumping it through Kellogg's and Battle Creek, but yet, you know, now China was making it, and you know their track record for safety and using shit, and that's what I thought. But I'm not so sure anymore. I think all of the stuff has already been used in foods, and I'm so disappointed that I'm not already growing my own food, because it's just been a nightmare of the last 7 years. Just an unbelievable, incredible, just ridiculous, weird, very trying. Yeah, you all know. Anyway, so I'm gonna put out the actual update video so that you can know what's been going on with me since the last video where I was doing so bad, still doing so bad, but I'm just so you have an update. And then hopefully I can get some of the other stuff out soon. Anyway, love you all much. Take care. Bye-bye.